Hello, thanks for joining us. This is Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguele. Welcome. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website. It's nta.ng/live and all other of our social media platforms displayed on the screen right now. Justice Olukayode Ariwola has been sworn in as the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari performed the ceremony following the sudden resignation of the substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, on health grounds. The brief but colorful ceremony was witnessed in solidarity by several justices of the Supreme Court. And let's bring you follow-up to that story. The 21st Chief Justice of Nigeria and Chairman of the National Judicial Council, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, has resigned, as you have known. Justice Muhammad resigned his appointment on health grounds. Well, how much do you know about him? Delia Tugbi will tell us more.
The 21st Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, who hails from Dogowa in Geade local government area of Bauchi State, was born on December 31, 1953. After his primary and post-primary education, Justice Tanko Muhammad proceeded to Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, where he bagged LLB degree in Islamic law in 1980. Tanko Muhammad was called to Nigerian bar in 1981. The same year, he graduated from the Nigerian Law School and began his legal career in 1982. The 21st Chief Justice of Nigeria obtained his LLM in 1985 and PhD in law from the same university in 1998. Having served in various positions as a judicial officer, Justice Muhammad was elevated to the Court of Appeal bench in 1993. He was on the bench of the Court of Appeal till 2006, and on 7th January 2006, he was elevated to the Supreme Court bench. Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad took over in acting capacity as the Chief Justice of Nigeria on 25th January 2019. His emergence followed the resignation of Justice Walter Onogen. Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad took over his substantive capacity as the Chief Justice of Nigeria on 11th July 2019, following the recommendation of National Judicial Council.
Therefore, this on the bench must be embraced when the backdrop of the code of conduct of the leader of the system is there. Consequently, as you have precisely can every bias which will bring the judiciary into disrepute. The judiciary as a nominal system must lead by example.
Before his resignation, there had been administrative communications among the justices of the Supreme Court containing various allegations, the record which Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad set straight in his reply. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Let's turn to electoral matters. INEC has assured the international community that the 2023 general elections will set a standard for other developing countries. Chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, gave the assurance at a meeting with UN Secretary General Special Envoy to West Africa and the Sahel. Mia Ogidi reports.
Smiles and laughter here. Handshake from UN to INEC. Handshake of solidarity and best wishes for a national assignment, that is the 2023 elections. Seated. Time to talk, but in French.
Vous savez, le Bureau des Nations Unies pour l'Afrique de l'Ouest et le Sahel s'occupe de
great delegation, because Nigeria is great and a continental powerhouse. But what makes Nigeria tick in terms of elections.
But Nigeria is one out of 15 countries in the sub-region. But the total number of registered voters in the other 14 countries put together is 73 million, meaning that Nigeria has 11 million more registered voters than the other countries in the sub-region put together. So each time Nigeria conducts a general election, it's like a general election in the whole of West Africa. I want to present this.
From Mahmoud to Mohammed, a gift to keep this day alive, while both parties retire to their shells for more work as 2023 approaches. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
Earlier, we told you Justice Olukayode Ariwola has been sworn in as the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria following the substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko, resignation. So let's bring you the ceremony now. Alright, we'll definitely bring you a full package and subsequent bulletins. The All Progressives Congress has described as fake the document in circulation alleging that it has connection to a leaked APC 2023 election document. Felix Walker, National Publicity Secretary of APC, in a statement said it is mischievous for anyone or group to think that APC will vote a whopping 6.5 trillion naira to fund schemes aimed at swaying the Nigerian electorate to support and vote for the party and its presidential candidate in 2023. The APC in a statement says such document did not emanate from them, describing it as the handiwork of detractors in a desperate quest for unmerited electoral advantage. The APC reaffirmed its focus on delivering the dividends of democracy to Nigerians, hoping that they will reciprocate by supporting and voting for its candidates come 2023 elections. As a law-abiding party, APC said it will not engage in any fraud and electoral malpractice suggested in the said document, and assured that it remains committed to building an innovative system of free and credible elections, as witnessed in the recently concluded governorship elections in Ekiti State. The National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party has constituted a 128-member Osun State Governorship National Campaign Council for the July 16 election. The party's National Organizing Secretary, Umar Bature, in a statement, announced the Governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Duye Diri, as chairman. Other members include governors on the platform of the PDP. Tombra Jumbo is to serve as the committee's administrative secretary. Right, let's turn to other issues. President Muhammad Buhari says the executive and legislature are working together to make Nigeria better. This was his message at the launching of a book to mark the 60th birthday of the Speaker, House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by his Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, at the book launch, said the Speaker is indeed a man with qualities that are rare.
He impressed me very much very early on as a committed member of House of Representatives.
The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, was full of admiration for the achievements of the Speaker.
Him is an example of democratic value, honesty, and integrity.
On the 368-page book titled Mr. Speaker, The Legislative Life, Service and Resilience of Femi Gbajabiamila, authored by two of his aides, Musa Krishi and Charles Omole, the Speaker said it was a tribute to all those that contributed in his life journey. Also unveiled at the event was the Legislative Mentorship Initiative. There were goodwill messages from prominent personalities. Lami Ali, NTA News.
Lami Ali there reporting. The presidential candidate and national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, has travelled out of the country early Monday morning after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa. A statement by Tinubu Media Office says his visit to Paris, France is to hold some important meetings. The APC standard bearer is expected back in the country shortly. The Nigerian Immigration Service has affirmed that Mr. David Uko Uwamini, who is at the center of a case of alleged organ harvesting in the UK against a former deputy president of the Senate, Ike Ekwuremadu, and his wife, applied and paid for the enhanced e-passport using the NIS portal, after which he approached the Gwagwalada Passport Office, FCT in Abuja, on November 2nd, 2021 for his interview. A statement signed by the Acting Comptroller General of Immigration, Isa Jere Idris, notes that in support of his application, Mr. Uwamini presented all the necessary documents required, including his birth certificate issued by National Population Commission, showing 12th October 2000 as his date of birth, his national identity number issued by NIMC corroborating the date of birth, a certificate of origin issued by Ebonyi State Government Liaison Office in Abuja, and a guarantor's form duly signed. The acting CGI reaffirms that in view of the records available to the service, the general public may wish to be informed that the date of birth or any other information on any Nigerian passport is printed on the document only after a thorough vetting process that involves both the applicant's breeder documents and the person. Mr. Uwamini's case, he says, was not an exception, contrary to rumors making the rounds. Idris, while assuring of the service commitment towards protecting the integrity of the passport, is appealing to the general public to desist from making unfounded utterances as they are capable of denting the image of the service. Let's turn to security. Zamfara state government has cleared the air on its decision to allow individuals to legitimately acquire guns for self-defense as part of new measures to tackle the persistent security challenges bedeviling the state. The State Commissioner of Information, Ibrahim Dusara, threw more light on the new security measures during a press conference in Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim reports.
The recent escalation of deadly attacks by terrorists on communities across Zamfara state has resulted in a monumental loss of lives and destruction of property, including a police outpost in Bukum local government area of the state. The terrorists have also within the past few days abducted a number of persons and displaced many others, especially women and children. Zamfara state government says enough is enough as it rolls out new measures to contain the situation, among of which the decision to allow residents to acquire guns for self-defense. Zamfara State Commissioner of Information Ibrahim Dusara, who addressed a press conference in Gusau, says arrangement has been concluded to issue application forms to each of the 19 emirate councils in the state for distribution to individuals who are interested and qualified to legitimately acquire the guns in their respective domains.
The state government is making consultations with the presidency and the high security command in the country with a view to obtaining permission for the Inspector General of Police to grant license to people wishing or who qualify to possess such local weapons to be used in defending themselves.
Dosara, who was flanked by the State Commissioner for Security and Home Affairs, DIG Mamman Safi, said the state government has also approved the recruitment of additional community protection guards in each of the 19 emirates of the state. Zamfara state government has also announced a ban on riding of motorcycles at the immediate closure of all markets in Mada, Urumuri and Wunaka districts of Goso local government area, as well as Birni Endota Emirate in Safi local government area of the state, among other security measures. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA.
In a related development, in response to the recent call by the Zamfara State Governor Bello Mohammed for citizens to acquire licensed arms for self-defense, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, described it as inappropriate, noting that only the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces can authorize the use of firearms. The Chief of the Defense Staff stressed this at the commencement of Exercise Grand National with War Colleges. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Just like most African countries, insecurity is ravaging different parts of Nigeria. Insurgency in the northeast, banditry in the northwest and north central, while secessionist movement is truncating socio-economic activities in parts of south-south. These complex and evolving emerging threats, amplified by the influx of illegal small and light weapons in the hands of non-state actors, tend to exceed the scope of a single service in the armed forces.
I am quite optimistic that the conduct of this joint training exercise would provide the participants and the armed forces of Nigerian personnel the prospects of enhancing cooperation and interoperability between the operational and strategic levels of military operations. The joint training exercise will enhance the capability of the participants to operate across the full spectrum of joint military operations.
I sought to know what is the security implication of the recent call by the Zamfara state governor for people to acquire registered and licensed guns to defend themselves.
The Constitution gives the right and the powers to the Commander-in-Chief for the use of the armed forces. I do not also think that the governor has the powers to instruct the Commissioner of Police to issue licenses, because the Commissioner of Police does not have the powers to issue licenses.
The Chief of Defense Staff enjoined the public to cooperate with security agencies in the ongoing drive to stem criminality across the country. From the National Defense College in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Earlier, I told you we'll bring you the swearing-in ceremony in a subsequent bulletin talking about the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. Well, fortunately, we have that report ready.
This occasion is an opportune time for me to, as always, assure the Nigerian judiciary that this administration is committed to ensuring the independence of the judiciary and will not do anything, nor take any steps to undermine your independence. Our nation is approaching a critical general election in 2023. The judiciary must not do anything to fail the ordinary people of Nigeria, which will make them lose confidence in the judiciary.
What Nigerians expect from me is to comply, preserve and abide and protect the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and so be it. That is what I will do, essentially, with the cooperation of my brother justices of the Supreme Court. We shall not fail Nigerians.
That's it. Hope you get the message. Let's join Michael in Lagos. Let him tell us what's happening there. Michael?
Thank you, Ruth. Generating innovative ideas and getting governments and industry policymakers to implement preferred solutions is key to achieving greater and better Nigeria. That was the focus of a public lecture by the Nigerian Academy of Engineering held in Lagos. Annie Daniels has details.
Gathered in this hall are Nigerian engineers whose desire to live out their dreams of solving the challenges in the sector prompted this all-important convergence. In the lecture titled Engineering Education, Yesterday, Today and Tomorrow, delivered by an erudite scholar, Professor Waifu Ishola Salawu, after discussing the evolution of engineering education in Nigeria from colonial days, concluded that despite the new scientific knowledge about both teaching and learning, practitioners should make more efforts that can generate significant transformation of engineering education in Nigeria.
If you don't have money, go and start university. but you must find the university. If you don't find the university, the people apply, there's nothing for them to learn. There are no equipment. Where I was in this place for about 30 years. The last time I came there, all some of the equipment are all old.
There were more reactions.
They are great to go from this environment. There is something significantly lacking in their knowledge, in their training, in their skill acquisition.
We are telling you that they should not go to university. They should still go, but in the university we should begin to teach them how to get jobs and make jobs. And I'm not saying easy, but the university can teach you anything, everything. And if something is difficult, give it to the university to solve. We have no jobs in Nigeria. Ask people in the university, but we don't. We ask parliamentarians, right? We don't quickly feed our children in the few jobs there are.
Please, I'm reaching out to parents. Please encourage your daughters. I also reach out and appeal to husbands. Please encourage your wives to fulfill their purpose and destiny. Some of us women are created to go into male-dominated fields, and we need to be encouraged.
It was unanimously agreed that strategic collaboration with the government and other stakeholders will solve the challenges of infrastructure, communication, agriculture, healthcare, technology, and other engineering problems in Nigeria. The event was also a platform to present life achievement awards and induction of new fellows in Lagos. Annie Daniels, NTA News.
It is less than 2 months to the deployment of 5th-generation technology services in Nigeria, and key players in the telecommunications sector said the positive impact of the service on the nation's digital economy policy is enormous, urging the masses to leverage on this. Kenya DBC was part of a consultative forum in Lagos and now reports.
In September 2021, the federal government approved the deployment of 5th-generation network policy in Nigeria. Since then, consultation and groundworks have been ongoing to have a seamless kickoff, with 2 telecommunication companies winning the 3.5 gigahertz spectrum bid and the issuance of license to them. 5G services are expected to commence August 24th, 2022. According to the Executive Vice Chairman, CEO, Nigerian Communications Commission, Professor Umar Dambata, this innovation will bring about enhanced mobile broadband, massive machine-type communications, and of course, ultra-reliable and low-latency communications.
How quickly we can execute, our daily operations in a manner that will make it very efficient. And you need the right technology to be able to do this. And I think 5G technology will serve as the answer.
Prior to now, there has been concerns from different quarters on the possible health implication of 5G network on humans. This was put to rest as stakeholders insist there is no known health hazard associated with the technology.
We would not really stand by and watch and imagine technology being deployed to, be a source of risk for their health.
Top on the list of questions on the minds of consumers is affordability and accessibility of the service.
It's important to know what they want to, pay for.
Our target is within 5 years, by 2025, we should be able to have a national coverage in terms of 5G.
No doubt there are still challenges. One of such is the need for more spectrum and vastly more spectrally efficient technologies, more than what the current 3G and 4G services require. Experts say the gains outweighs the odds. In Lagos, Kendi Adebisi, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and now other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages. The news continues with Ruth in Abuja shortly after this break. Please stay.
Welcome back. The Commonwealth of Nations has been challenged to strengthen multilateral engagements in order to help African countries overcome challenges of security, poverty, corruption and epileptic power supply. Guest on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria specifically called for strategic partnership between Nigeria and influential countries in the Commonwealth to fast-track national growth and development. Lydia Sampson will tell us more about that.
Guest noted that various sessions at Shogom 2022 point to the need to walk the talk beyond paper resolutions.
One of the things that happened in Kigali was that some young people were giving awards, startups. There was a Nigerian lady. She runs a company called Salubata. And what does she do? She makes shoes from recycled plastic wastes. In fact, she came to present some of the shoes to the president. So the fact that that platform was used to recognize those people shows that something is happening.
The issue of climate change cannot be handled by government alone. It has to be a synergy between the government as related the public sector and industries and the private sector and even the society organizations. And the commitments and targets must be measurable, precise, measurable, realistic.
There was also advocacy for meaningful peer review and performance tracking of democracy and good governance among member states, as well as the need to strengthen healthcare systems.
Right now, as a Commonwealth Medical Association, we are engaging the Commonwealth Secretariat to further that proposal. Everybody has confidence in what we are proposing, and the framework is already there, really. You're not going to be reinventing the wheel. The framework is already there in terms of these indicators, whether on the issue of attaining universal health coverage, what are the indices for even assessing countries moving in the direction of attaining universal health coverage, because the target is just year 2030.
Looking at the communique that was issued, I think it is encouraging. We hope that in the future the Commonwealth will have a strong voice. The Commonwealth will have an influence on various topical world affairs. I was looking forward to a robust statement on the issue of the fight in Ukraine and Russia. I was also looking at a bold strategy towards addressing the food security and transformation of the agricultural sector.
Bolder initiatives are expected from the Commonwealth heads of government towards making the Commonwealth economically viable. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Nigeria joins the rest of the United Nations in marking the 2022 International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drugs Trafficking. The theme of this year's edition is addressing drug challenges in health and humanitarian crisis, with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) spearheading the celebration. Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo, during the event held at the conference center of the Presidential Villa in Abuja, applauds the achievements of the nation so far and also calls for a multi-dimensional and holistic approach to tackling drug abuse in the country.
As the federal government, through its agencies and the state governments, will lead the charge with decisive policy initiatives, these strides must be complemented by changes at the family and community level also. The kind of change we seek regarding drug abuse cannot happen without the collaboration of families, faith-based organizations, and community leadership at the local levels. We must spearhead massive value reorientation across the country, reassessing cultural factors and systems that support drug abuse and trafficking. Our communities everywhere must rise to this challenge. The federal government will continue to support the NDLEA to fulfill its mandate, especially through data-driven and evidence-based policy making. Will continue to unearth enduring and sustainable solutions to the underlying causes of drug abuse.
Still on the day, the National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency Bauchi State Office has intensified sensitization campaign against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. Awal Abdullahi reports that the measure is aimed at creating more awareness on the dangers of drug abuse.
The objective of the day set aside by the United Nations General Assembly is to strengthen action and cooperation toward achieving a world free of drug abuse. In the light of this, Bauchi State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has embarked on sensitization and awareness campaign against drug abuse and illicit trafficking.
to take the message down to the grassroots that the war against the drug abuse and trafficking is real. I want the impact to be felt by everybody because everybody is a stakeholder.
It is expected of everybody. It is not only NTA that's supposed to fight drugs. Everybody's business.
The command also extended the sensitization to some worship centers in Bauchi State, where they highlighted the dangers of drug abuse and illicit trafficking, as well as its negative effect to the society, stressing the need for all hands to be on deck in the fight against the menace. Addressing drug challenges in health and humanitarian crisis is the theme for 2022 World Drug Day. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
Still on health related, the UN target in line with the Sustainable Development Goal 3 is aimed at ending HIV and AIDS by 2030. Experts say this will be achieved when the number of new HIV infections and AIDS-related deaths decline by 90%. But unfortunately, while the drop in AIDS-related deaths is on track, the rate of new HIV infections is said to be off track to achieving this target. This informed the National HIV Testing Day. Basita Ipang reports on the significance of the day.
UN AIDS record shows that about 6.0 million of the world population still walk the streets without knowing their HIV status. A high number of these people are responsible for the majority of new infection recorded every year, adding to the challenges of achieving 2030 targets of ending AIDS.
But the one thing is important. There is no way we can end AIDS without knowing people who have HIV among us. There is no way we can know people who have HIV among us without HIV testing.
27th of June annually is set aside to encourage people to get tested for HIV, know their status, and get linked to care and treatments.
Treatment is free and available and accessible. So the next step, once you find out your status, that you are positive, is to access the free test, free treatment that is available everywhere.
What are the options to know one's HIV status?
Facilities where HIV services are given and demand for HIV testing free of charge. You can also demand for self-test kits, which are now available. This will give you opportunity to test yourself, to know your HIV status in the comfort of your room.
Especially for my pet group, which is adolescents and young people that are into a lot of risky behavior and yet do not want to come out in the open because of stigma, discrimination, lack of access, so many things. Now have the tools in their hands.
HIV testing, experts say it's self-care, and taking the test is your care. Know your status today. Stay healthy, protect your loved ones, and stop the spread. Basi Taipan, NTA News.
The federal government is striving to avoid a repeat of failure in the water, sanitation and hygiene wash sector as the SDG's 2030 target draws closer. However, despite various policies and programs at the federal level, attainment of these goals looks like a distant dream going by activities at the state levels. Musbahuddin Wahab reports.
Central Ogbia Regional Water Supply Scheme inaugurated with fanfare and handed over to Bayelsa State Government in 2016. Wow. Just a year later, the facility intended to serve about 14 communities and parts of Yenagua with potable water came under lock and key.
A 6 billion naira investment by the federal government, not a dime put in by the state government, only for them to run the scheme. We went and commissioned the scheme way back in 2016. Go and see the situation today. It's been vandalized. They can't even hire a security personnel to safeguard the infrastructure that is there.
That is one of the instances that came to mind as Water Resources Minister vented his frustration about the attitude of some subnational governments towards federal-state partnership in fixing the wash sector. And the recently released data in the WASH National Outcome Routine Mapping, WASH-NOM 2021, confirms the slow-paced progress in water supply and sanitation.
An estimated 48 million people are still practicing open defecation, which has serious negative health and security implications for Nigerians.
The challenges ahead are profound. Only 10% of Nigerians have access to combined water, sanitation and hygiene services. The level of access to water, sanitation and hygiene in the country is still not on track to achieve the SDG 6.1 or 6.2.
Apart from increase in population and the COVID-19 slowdown, the other reason again is not far-fetched.
Despite all the advocacy we're doing, many states are still lagging behind. They have not embraced this program as we would want them to.
Competition is on for the first state to complete the cycle of statewide open defecation-free status, but performance in some states still leaves much to be desired.
The entire wash sector will not be able to meet the sustainable development goals without a concerted effort by the state governments to commensurate the efforts that we're making at federal level.
So, going by the centrality of water and sanitation to other sectors in the sustainable development agenda, key players say it will require a renewed vigor to clean the mess and quench the thirst of a yearning population in Nigeria. In Abuja, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo marks 100 days in office. In a broadcast to mark the day, he promised to deal decisively with criminals and ensure justice is delivered to victims. Idem Kalu reports that the governor expressed his administration's resolve to make the state the center of economic attraction despite the meager resources.
Highlighting his achievements under the 5 pillars of his administration, which include security, economic transformation, and social agenda, governance, rule of law, and environment towards a clean and planned sustainable cities, the governor noted that his administration declared zero tolerance for criminality, poverty, and drug abuse, inaugurated Truth, Justice and Peace Committee to find lasting peace in Anambra and Southeast region, as the curfew on motorcycles, tricycles and shuttle buses in 8 local government areas will be lifted in no distant time.
We have launched a campaign to mobilize our people to take back our state from criminals and head-on systematic and comprehensive attack on insecurity to restore law and order.
The governor noted that his government declared emergency on roads and traffic as over 220 kilometers of road will soon be flagged off for construction. On technology, the governor noted that the National Information Technology Development Agency will soon be launching Innovation Center in Oka, as there will be availability of public Wi-Fi in some select public areas.
It means that the state can't afford any waste of any sort. Only expenditures that are absolutely imperative will be undertaken in our quest to ensure that every penny is devoted to give maximum value.
Reiterating his resolve to ensure that local government funds are deployed to address developmental issues at the grassroots, the governor also highlighted on the adoption of regenerative agricultural system, power, health, welfare of pensioners, rehabilitation of water facilities, employment, among others. From the Governor's Lodge, Amobia, Ndem Kalo, NTA News.
All right, let's go on another break. We're back shortly, so stay tuned. Welcome back. The Rivers State government is set to deliver a state-of-the-art facility law school. This is as the Chairman, Council of Legal Education, Emeka Ngige SAN, described the Dr. Nabo Graham Douglas campus of the Nigerian Law School in Port Harcourt as the mother of all campuses of the Nigerian Law School in the country. Ogedi Inyekwere reports that the chairman of the Council of Legal Education stated this in Port Harcourt at an inspection visit to the Port Harcourt campus of the Nigerian Law School, led by Governor Nyesom Wike.
This appears to be the final round of inspection of the Dr. Nabo Graham Douglas campus of the Nigerian Law School, as finishing touches are being put to the different parts of the buildings and installations. This became evident as Governor Wike and some members of the management of Council of Legal Education and other top legal luminaries went on tour of the various facilities of the campus. The chairman of Council of Legal Education, Emeka Ngige SAN, is amazed that Governor Wike has made it a one-year promise kept.
This is a turning point in the history of legal education in Nigeria. If I tell you that we are not short of words to describe what we have seen here, then we are lying.
Director General, Nigerian Law School, Professor Issa Cheroma, SAN, appreciated the painstaking efforts of the River State government to march westward action.
We need to order the universities all over the world, and this action can stand anywhere in the world.
For Governor Nyesom Wike, is not just about citing the institution in the state, but also working towards making it the toast of all campuses in the country. Hence, the handing over of certificates of occupancy of some adjoining property acquired by the River State government for the law school to enable it to generate revenue for the running and sustainability of the facilities in the campus. The facilities inspected include the lecture halls, hostel blocks, moot court, sick bay, the service area, and the power generating house, as well as the residential quarters for the lecturers opposite Hotel Presidential, Port Harcourt. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Inyekwere, NTA.
In Owerri, the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has given 10 days of grace to bandits operating and hibernating in the forests of Imo State to surrender themselves and arms to their traditional rulers for unconditional pardon. The governor gave the directive while addressing the congregation at the Government House Chapel, Owerri. Beatrice Anyam reports.
We made a lot of progress in our attempt to clear the state of bandits.
The 10 days amnesty granted to bandits operating in Imo State, according to Governor Hope Uzodinma, is to rid the forest of criminals who use such locations as operational base. He discloses that the state government has procured the necessary equipment for bombardment of the forest, hence the need for the bandits to take advantage of the window of unconditional pardon open to them to surrender and get integrated in the society.
We've taken delivery of so many military equipment meant to be used to flush out in our forests and bushes all unknown gunmen and bandits. After 10 days, anybody found armed in our bush is no longer innocent.
The governor notes that Imo State will be hosting the annual Army Day celebration from June 30 to July 6, 2022, and that no fewer than 10,000 military personnel drawn from the Army, Navy, Air Force and the police will be in attendance, while President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to declare the event open.
Mr. President will be coming to Imo State on 12th and 13th of July to commission Owerri Olu Road and Owerri Okigwe Road. Mr. President will also lay a foundation stone for a world-class international conference center.
The governor thanked the people of the state for their continued support to his administration. In Owerri, Beatrice Anyam, NTA.
What is the offense of Catholic priests? This is the question on the lips of religious leaders as two priests were killed yesterday in Edo and Kaduna State. One of the slain priests is Reverend Father Christopher Odia of the St. Michael's Catholic Church in Edo State. Ivie Oyakire will give us some answers.
Woke up, got set, and was heading for Sunday Mass at about 6:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. Little did he know that he would be attacked while entering his vehicle and whisked away. The action of the abductors spurred the youths in the community to chase them, which in turn made the gunmen shoot about 3 persons, including a manservant and a vigilante. Shortly after, the body of the priest was found in one of the forests.
I can't really tell if the attack is strictly on Reverend Fathers, but one thing is very important: the human life is sacred. The human life is very, very important, and no one has right to go for another person's life.
And those who are doing all these things, it does not pay. So we are appealing to them that it is time they should drop their hands.
The leaders are hoping the gruesome murder of Reverend Father Christopher Ojia will be the last of it, as they also want security agencies to do more. The police, in a statement released by the Edo State Command, states that after a combined tactical team were deployed, they were able to decimate a member of the gang, while others escaped with various gunshot injuries. The command is urging members of the public to remain calm and go about their lawful duties. Meanwhile, the acting governor of Edo State and deputy governor, Philip Shoaibu, as well as heads of security outfits in the state, are on their way to Ikabigbo, where the murder took place. In Benin, Ivie Oyahiri, NTA News.
As Kebbi State commenced the airlift of pilgrims to Saudi Arabia, the pilgrims have been urged to be good ambassadors of the state and the country during their stay in the Holy Land. The Kebbi State Governor Abubakar Atiku Bagudu stated this at the inaugural flight after a 2 years break because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Usman Abdullahi Shehu reports.
Pilgrimage season since COVID-19 pandemic restriction halted Muslims over the world from traveling to Saudi Arabia to perform the holy pilgrimage, one of the 5 pillars of Islam. The year 2022 will remain historic to the Muslim world, Kebbi State pilgrims inclusive, as the worship travel ban is suspended. Governor Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, while bidding farewell to the first batch of 430 pilgrims to be airlifted to Medina, urged them to respect the rules and regulations of the Saudi authorities during their stay.
Which is a historic day because for the last 3 years the world has been challenged with COVID. So this represents an improvement in the world, and we are always happy and honored for our pilgrims to be able to participate.
The State Amirul Hajj, who is also the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, SAN, said all the necessary documents and other needs of the pilgrims have been adequately taken care of for the comfort of the pilgrims.
We remain grateful to the Kebbi State government for making the welfare of its people a priority over and above every other consideration, by way of going out of its way to ensure that extra provisions are made to ensure the comfort of our pilgrims all over the state.
It is expected that 2,133 Kebbi State intended pilgrims will fly to Saudi Arabia in 6 batches within the week or so. In Birnin Kebbi, Usman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
All right, let's take sports update.
Super Falcons of Nigeria will have their first training session Tuesday, having arrived Morocco early hours of Monday. The most successful team so far in the tournament, with 9 titles, will square it up against rivals South Africa in their opening match on July 4, before meeting Botswana on July 7 and conclude Group C hostilities with a game against Burundi on July 10. Super Falcons are going into the tournament on the back of a good ranking by FIFA in the month of June, placing 39 in the world and first in Africa.
Everybody wants to halt the dominance of the Super Falcons in Africa. Everybody wants to create an upset. Everybody wants to use the Super Falcons to make a news. But I would want to tell people that it is our duty as a team to make sure that we sustain and maintain our #1 spot in Africa.
Away from football, the third edition of the Golf Six Seas tournament has come to an end in Minna, the Niger state capital. Musa Mikal reports that 36 players grouped into 9 teams battled for honors over 2 days, with Team E emerging winners of the tournament, which was organized to honor senior citizens in the country while also developing the sport.
It's a great pleasure playing this tournament, and wherever it takes place again, the next edition, this team will be there again, and this team will win again.
In tennis, Fernando Verdasco became the first player to be sent packing in a 2022 Wimbledon Open after American Tommy Paul beats the Spaniard 6-1, 6-2, 7-6 in the first men's single decided Monday. The man from Madrid had a breakup in the third set and equalized at 5 games when his rival served for the match, but he later succumbed to sudden death. Fernando, who was ranked 115 in the ATP, featured in his last Wimbledon after 18 consecutive appearances. With Sports Update, Cynthia Ogun, NTA News.
And we're done. Thank you very much for your time. But remember, NTA is leading the campaign against rape and rapists, so do well to join us. I'm Ruth Aguele. Enjoy your evening.